We are privileged to continue today in Mesillas Yesharim, and today we will conclude in Meretz Hashem, the third parak. So the Ramchal continues, and he says, Kina davar hazeh. So remember again, in the last year, he gave the mashal that life is often like these life-size mazes, that a person begins on a particular path, and until a person is able to get to the platform in the middle, where one is raised above the maze, only then is one able to see the derech, the path that will allow one to ultimately reach their intended goal. So the Ramchal writes as follows: Kein hadavar hazeh. The same is true with life. Misha adayin lamashal biyitzrahu b'soch hashvilin lo yuchal lahavchin beineim. If someone is not yet asserted dominion or reined in his yetzer, his desires, he's essentially living a life where he's stuck in the paths. Lo yuchal lahavchin beineim, and unable to tell the difference between the paths. But those who are able to rein in their yetzer, not to conquer it per se, but at least to rein it in so that I control it, it does not control me. Those who are able So the Ramchal writes over here, so often if I'm not in control of my yetzer, I'm not in control of my desires, my wants, my proclivities, so often they will steer me down the wrong paths in life. But if at the end of the day I know someone, I have someone in my life who has made it to the middle of the maze and who stands perched above the maze and is able to see the maze in its entirety, that individual has the ability to direct me as to which direction in life I should go. So the Ramchal says something amazing. So imagine for a moment you were able to meet someone who made it to the end of the maze, or I should say the middle of the maze. He made it to the platform in the middle, so he's raised above all of the different paths in the maze. He knows exactly which are the right paths, which are the dead ends. What would he say to you? What would he say to you? So Ramchal says something amazing. What would he say to us? Bo'u chashbon. Bo'u nechashev shechashbono shel olam. Ki kvar nisu v'ra'o v'yadu shezeh levadu ha'derech ha'amiti lahagia ha'adam el hatova asher mevakesh v'lo zulazeh. Ramchal says, you know what they would tell you? Bo'u chashbon. Live life with a chashbon. It's a play on the pasuk, but live life with a chashbon. Meaning what? Be the kind of person who lives life with zihirus, who lives life with awareness, who lives life with a sense of cognition, a sense of introspection. Don't be the kind of person who acts first and thinks later. But again, going back full circle, be the kind of person who identifies what is the tov ha'amiti, what is the ultimate good, what is the ra ha'amiti, what is the ultimate negative, what actions will lead me towards the tov ha'amiti and prevent me from being ensnared by the ra ha'amiti. Klalo shel davar. That's what the person in the middle of the maze would tell me. Think before you act. Have clarity. Have introspection. Clarity of mind. Decide where you want to get to, and then identify which actions will help you get there. Klalo shel davar. Ramchal says the general principle is tzarech ha'adam lios misponim b'sichlo tamid b'chol zman u'bizman kavua b'hisbodedo. It's a very profound statement. The Ramchal says the general rule in life is a person has to be aware, thinking, and thoughtful at all times. And he has to set aside a time to be alone with himself and to think, what is the true path? What is the path of Torah that a person has to walk on? So in other words, zihirus. Person, and the Ramchal over here, we'll discuss this more in the next chapter, but a person has to actively set aside time for this pursuit. Because like anything else, I don't set aside time for it, just doesn't happen. After a person identifies what is the best path for him to take, then I could ask myself, will these particular actions advance me on the path or derail me from the path? Because if a person identifies the path they want to take, and then identifies which actions will help me along this path and which ones will derail me, such a person has the ability to be successful. Such a person has the ability to become pure. Such a person has the ability to ultimately straighten out his or her life. K'mosha Kosef Omer, Palis Ma'agal Raglecha V'chol Drachecha Yikonu V'Omer Yinach Mesad Drachinu V'Nachkora V'Nashuva Al Hashem. So a really profound idea that the Ramchal is advancing. This concept that, first I think the metaphor of life being a maze is such an important one, because we all experience this at different times. We go down a path, and at first the path looks good. At first the path looks correct, and then over time I only begin to realize I'm hitting a dead end. I'm hitting a dead end. The Ramchal says it doesn't have to be that way. If I think ahead before I act and I identify the path I want to take, a good path, now I need to make sure I'm choosing the right path. And then before I act, I ask myself, will these actions lead me further on the path I want to go? Or will they chas v'shalom lead me on a different path which could be self-destructive? If I analyze each of my decisions through that prism, suddenly I'm making well-informed life decisions. And suddenly everything I'm doing is helping to contribute towards my greater life advancement. We'll stop over here. Mazel Tov on finishing the third chapter of Pirkei Avos. Looking forward on Sunday, Me'ez Hashem, to beginning Parak Dalid. Have a wonderful Shabbos.